Hey, Pretty Girl Club. Welcome back to the Beluga series. One of the comments that I got recently was from somebody that was like, oh, how do I keep motivation to lose weight? I don't have any motivation. Okay, the same motivation that you're using to chase after dick, the same motivation that you use to get white men's attention, the same motivation that you use to go to a bar and sit there for 3 hours because you're waiting for Scott to come up and talk to you, the same amount of time that you would use swiping on dating apps, that's the same energy that I use towards staying in shape. And it's funny because I hear a lot of women saying, oh, well, if he wanted to, he would. Okay, so the same thing goes for you when it comes to losing weight. If you wanted to, you would. So if you're having trouble when it comes to your body or like staying thin, you just don't want it enough. That's what it is. Just admit that you'd rather be a beluga, and that's fine if you want to look like a linebacker. It's fine if you want to be shaped like a pizza box. Just don't come on my channel, though. And also, have you ever noticed that a lot of the level up channels on YouTube, they're talking all this shit, telling women, change your hairstyle. We'll just go to a hotel. We'll just go to the nice part of town. Stop dating black men. That's how you can level up. But they never say anything about actual weight loss. They never tell the women that come on their streams, hey, you literally need to lose like 50 pounds, like 60 pounds. Stop being overweight. And by the way, I'm not saying that you can't level up if you are overweight because, this is the Pretty Girl Club. So if you have the face card, your face card is never going to decline. But in my case, part of why I eat a lot of vegetables and stuff is because I am protecting my face card. So eating those vegetables, that helps me to keep my skin clear. It helps my face to retain collagen. So I am helping my face card by being at a healthy weight. And by the way, another thing is I rarely eat packaged foods. Like, it's very rare for you to see me with a bag of chips. You know those little bags of chips that you get from the grocery store, like the Cheetos and stuff? You will very rarely see me with those. I haven't had a bag of Cheetos probably in about 2 months at least. So I don't eat packaged processed shit. I don't want to be shaped like a Cheeto bag. I don't want to be shaped like a Dorito. I don't want to have a double chin because I am so overtaken with sodium. I have so much salt in my body. I don't want to have high cholesterol and all that bullshit. And a lot of people are over here, they're talking about dating and leveling up and traveling. It's like, ma'am, are you even going to be alive to even do all that? Because you sure are making big plans for somebody who doesn't even have any health. They're over here talking about, oh, I want to go backpacking in Spain. Backpacking with what muscles? You don't even have the arm muscles to carry a backpack. What are you talking about, ma'am? Oh, well, I want to go walk around Italy. I want to go to Egypt. I want to go to the pyramids. How are you going to walk around in the heat when you haven't had 10K steps in over 6 months? So that's why you see a lot of women, they're still struggling with their level up journey because they're skipping over the most important part, which is being healthy. And people are like, oh, well, Exoticals United, you're just super disciplined. It's not a discipline thing. It's more so that if I mess up, like if I eat a whole bunch of crap one day, I will just get back on the wagon the next day. If you fall off the wagon, you just get back on. When women are talking about being thin, it doesn't mean that they eat perfectly 24/7. It doesn't mean that they never have a slice of pizza. It just means that we know how to get back on track if we mess up. We know how to clean our body out. That's another thing too. I try to detox my body. If I know that I ate a bunch of like sugar and sodium, the next day I will detox my body. I will drink chlorophyll water. I might have something with activated charcoal in it. I might have some extra green tea the next day. I will put some lemon or something in my water to help detox me. And no, drinking water, that's not the key to being skinny. It helps you to be hydrated, but it's not going to make you lose 25 pounds. It's like women will do anything other than changing their diet. So you have the audacity to come online and talk shit about Exoticals. You have the time to swipe on a whole bunch of dating apps. You have time to change your race to white on a dating app so you can get Scott's attention, but you don't have time to eat vegetables? And by the way, vegetables are some of the cheapest things you can purchase from the store because I hear other women, they're making excuses like, oh, well, eating healthy is expensive. It's expensive if you're purchasing the processed healthy foods or like, the zero sugar, the keto cookies and all that. Yeah, that's expensive. But the majority of thin people's diets is really just vegetables and like protein. I have never met a thin person who does not eat any fruits or vegetables ever. I've never seen that. Because, by the way, fiber is one of the keys to being thin. And that's why I said that beluga at your job, the fat lady that's mean to you at work, it's not about you. She literally has 10 pounds of unprocessed boo boo in her stomach right now. She's literally sitting at her desk, clenching her butt right now because that's how constipated she is from never eating fiber. Like, anytime I see somebody, have you ever seen those videos where it's like, oh, I'm fat, this is what I eat in a day? They almost never have a full serving of vegetables. And I'm watching it, I'm just thinking, wow, I can only imagine what her intestines are looking like right now. I can only imagine how her stomach must feel right now. She is about to explode on the toilet. Like, I can't imagine not having fiber in my diet. That is nasty, that's disgusting. And so, no, I don't want my whole body to be filled with boo boo. And by the way, your diet also affects how your breath smells, it affects how your kitty cat smells. So you're over here talking about dating. Like, all these women, they're like, oh, I'm going to level up. Oh, well, they don't like skinny women. All these men, they like women who have more curves. They like women who are thick. And in reality, when they say thick, they really mean obese. So they're over here with unprocessed boo-boo in their stomachs. Breath smells like shit. Cootie cat smells bad because the pH is out of balance. You do know that processed food feeds yeast, right? You do know that candida and all that, it's contributing to yeast infections. Processed food also contributes to you having mucus in your body. Have you ever been around somebody that's like snorting and sniffing and blowing their nose 24/7? It's like every time they breathe, you just hear a sound where it's like, so they literally are walking around making pig noises, talking about oh, I'm gonna level up. Oh, well, this guy, he prefers me because I have more of an ass. First of all, if a man is picking you simply because of your ass, that is not a compliment, ma'am. That's not a compliment. Also, if it's really that serious, skinny girls are getting BBLs. So you're over here making it an entire hierarchy, trying to say that, you're better than women who are thin because, you're 250 pounds. You have an 80-pound butt. Your butt alone is 85 pounds. You have the whole entire body of a second grader hanging off of your butt, trying to flex on skinny women. And it's like, ma'am, being thin is healthy. So that's what it is. I don't want somebody to fetishize me because I have an 85-pound booty. I don't want to walk around with a 90-pound diaper booty and have my thighs rubbing together to the point where I can barely walk. I'm over here knock-kneed. I can barely walk. I'm limping and stuff. Talking about going backpacking in Spain. Backpacking where? To the buffet? Oh, and that's another thing too. When you're traveling, a lot of countries outside of the United States, they do not have the same food culture that we have here. So you can't even go to a lot of these other countries and eat at a buffet. So people are over here talking about, oh, this man, he's going to fly me out. This man is taking me on vacation. Okay, well, how are you going to feel when you can't go to the buffet? Are you going to be in a bad mood when Scott doesn't want to eat 24/7? Or are you going to try to pretend like you're skinny? Like, I saw this video of this one big girl. She said that when she goes on dates, she eats salads so that she doesn't look fat. And it's like, okay, so you're willing to act and pretend like you're healthy so you can impress a man. So you want to pretend like you're healthy to get some dick as opposed to actually just being healthy and not making it male-centered. Too many women make their fitness journey male-centered. So if they don't have a boyfriend, they're out of shape. And then for some women, when they do get a boyfriend, they get out of shape. So it's literally like your health is dependent upon what kind of dick is in your life at that time. And it's like, no, how about I just value myself? How about I just eat some vegetables? Anytime I see somebody commenting saying, oh, well, I haven't lost weight. It's been 8 weeks. My weight hasn't gone down on the scale. Okay, you didn't eat enough vegetables. Why can't I lose weight? Because you didn't eat enough vegetables. I said what I said. If you're over here eating protein bars and drinking protein shakes all day, you do know that you need fiber to digest that protein, right? And you do know that not having enough fiber, you do know that eventually that contributes to colon cancer, right? So you're over here trying to make it look like you're healthy by drinking all these protein shakes. You don't have any fiber to go with it because you're avoiding vegetables like the plague. I mean, I have never seen women have such a hatred for vegetables in my entire life. Your hatred for vegetables is exactly why you're big. Oh, well, Exoticals United, I don't know how to make vegetables taste good, so I'm just not going to eat them. Okay, the same way that you made Tyrone's dick taste good when you didn't really want to do it, make vegetables taste good. Use the same motivation that you used to suck Scott's dick. Use that motivation to eat some vegetables. So instead of focusing on eating dick, how about we focus on eating vegetables? How about we decenter men? How about we balance our pHs naturally? How about we stop seeking all this external validation and spending hours? Some of these women are literally spending hours watching dating videos, listening to all these podcasts, listening to the Red Pill podcast, trying to get a gauge on what men are thinking, trying to analyze men. So all they have to do is keep that same energy when it comes to themselves. So that's why I'm skinny. It's because instead of me studying what some random dusties think about me, instead of me studying how to impress Scott, I decided to study how to balance my own body. How does my body react after I have carbs? Like, I saw some people talking shit because I don't eat a lot of carbs 24/7. I'm very picky about my carbs. I prefer complex carbs. Like, I like root vegetables when it comes to my carbs. So I prefer like a sweet potato. I will have yam. I'll have like butternut squash. Bananas are my carb. Apple is one of my carbs. So I see people talking shit like, oh, well, why are you so scared of having bread? Why are you scared of eating rice? Well, it's because I've studied my body, and my body does not react the same way to white rice or oatmeal as it does to sweet potato. So that's something I learned about myself from actually being committed to learning how to work with my body. And I've also noticed a lot of women, they try to use the gym as like an escape from eating healthy. Just because you go to the gym, it doesn't mean that you don't have to eat healthy. You can't outrun a bad diet. That is the only weight loss advice that I really wish I would have listened to, because I genuinely did believe that I could outrun a bad diet. I would spend like 4 hours in the gym and I would do my different classes. I would do like the Zumba class, then I would do yoga, then after that I got a weightlifting class. So I genuinely thought that I would lose weight. You know how much weight I lost? 0 pounds. 0 pounds. You know why? Because I would bring 1,500 calories worth of trail mix. I would put that in my gym bag, and then in between classes, I was eating the extra trail mix. And then I would make the excuse, oh, well, it's because I need energy. And it's like, okay, ma'am, if you are burning 500 calories and then you eat an extra 500 calories for quote unquote energy, you're not losing weight. You're clean bulking. You're clean bulking. And another thing too is I've noticed people shame women if we don't want to be bulky. They'll be like, oh, well, you're just afraid of muscle. And it's like, well, yeah, I don't want 250 pounds of muscle. I don't want to look like a linebacker. I don't want to look like a professional wrestler. I don't want to look like I'm Hulk Hogan. I don't want to be shaped like a trapezoid. And also, it's always the people that are the least in shape that have the most to say about other women's bodies. And the way that I did it is like, no, how about I lose all the weight first? Any weight that I need to lose, I can lose the weight. And I see a lot of women talking about like plastic surgery. They'll be like, oh, I need a nose job. I need to get my chin fixed. I need to get all this stuff fixed on my face. I need a BBL. And it's like, okay, maybe you should start off by getting a healthy weight first, and then we can really see your face. If your face is covered in layers of fat, I can't even see your face. When I was chunky, my eyes were smaller. My nose was bigger. Everything about my face was bigger. My cheeks look more round. I have an oval shaped face, but if I'm fat, it starts to go into a circle. So it's like my actual bone structure wasn't even showing because I had layers of fat covering up my face. So that's part of why women stay big. It's because they use every excuse besides eating vegetables. I'm telling you, eating vegetables is the main key to becoming thin. Eat whole foods. And no, I'm not talking about fruit. Don't just get addicted to fruit because that's still another coping mechanism. You just want something sweet. And by the way, I love a good fruit smoothie. One thing I started doing is I put a scoop of protein in my fruit smoothie. And that helps me because fruit, it digests pretty quickly. So I will get hungry again after a few hours. Like after about 2 hours of having fruit, I'm going to be hungry again. So the way that I eat my fruit is my dessert. Because my brain associates sweets with dessert. A lot of women become chunky because they're not satisfying their cravings in a healthy way. I try to have a good variety of different food textures. So part of why I like sweet potato is because it's sweet and it's like carb heavy and it's like it makes me feel fulfilled and it's also hot. I associate hot foods with like being satisfied. My brain likes when I have hot foods. If I were to just eat a protein bar and that's it, eventually my brain is going to be like, okay, that was a snack. Like, where's the actual food? Where is the meal? So sometimes the temperature of the food that's what satisfies my cravings. Like I've also noticed that around this time of year, once it gets colder, that's when I crave more hot foods. I want like a hot soup. I want something carby and heavy, especially if it's about to snow or something. Oh yeah, I already know my brain is going to start craving carbs. So a part of how I maintain a size extra small is by satisfying my cravings using foods that are healthy. So if I want something sweet, instead of grabbing a cookie or instead of grabbing ice cream, I have replaced ice cream with Greek yogurt. So I will have like a little Greek yogurt or I'll have like a non-dairy yogurt. And then I'll put some berries on top. I might even drizzle some honey on top, and that is my dessert. I used to get Cool Whip and put that with some strawberries. That's something that also helped me to like lose weight. I kind of stopped doing that though because I noticed I would eat the entire thing of Cool Whip within like a couple days. So I stopped getting it. But if you're really desperate or if you are better at portion control, you can do that. So a lot of women, they don't stay thin because they don't stick around long enough. They're too impatient. They're impatient ass bitches. It's like, okay, you're patient for some dick. You're patient for Scott's attention. You're patient when it comes to dating apps. You're patient when it comes to talking shit about me on YouTube. But you have no patience when it comes to your own weight loss. You're literally giving up within 10 seconds. You're giving up because you don't have any ideas. And it's like, well, yeah, the reason you don't have any ideas is because you spent your time scrolling a dating app instead of scrolling on Pinterest or scrolling on somewhere where you could get some recipes. And honestly, cooking and having all these fancy recipes, I don't need a fancy ass recipe in order to be thin. That's another thing too. A lot of people associate being thin with being very luxurious and high maintenance. And I don't consider it high maintenance. I don't have to do fancy recipes for my food to be healthy and taste good. Like I will literally have a yam and then I put that chili oil on it from Trader Joe's, just 1 tablespoon, no more than a tablespoon. Usually I do half a tablespoon. So that's it. That's just like 2 ingredients. I will buy a bag of sweet potato or yams or regular potato and I will rinse it off, poke some holes in it with a knife, and put it in the microwave for 3 minutes. Don't put it on a plate because the plate might explode if it's a glass plate. So I just put it in the microwave for a few minutes and then it's cooked. And then I just cut it open and now I've got a baked potato. That's very heavy. You know, it's going to make me feel very full. And it's like lower calorie. And that gives me energy. I don't just give up and say, okay, well, let me just go get a whole thing of fries. Do you know how many potatoes it takes to make a large thing of fries? Like one of my favorite places is Five Guys, and I love their fries. Their fries are very thick. They give you a very large serving, but it's like, okay, think about how many potatoes you would have to chop up to eat that amount of fries. You probably had to chop up a good 4, 5, maybe even 6 potatoes into the French fry shape. So a lot of women, they say, oh, well, I'm eating healthy. I'm having potatoes. Why am I gaining weight off of these French fries? Well, it's because you ate too many French fries. Also, having a very high amount of carbs, it causes you to store water weight. So if you care about how your body looks aesthetically, which I do, I don't want a bunch of water weight. And I can't stand when people try to gaslight me. They'll be like, oh, well, Exoticals United, that's just water weight. It's not a big deal. No, it is a big deal. I don't want my body to be pumped with sodium and to be constantly flooded with hella water. I want my body to sometimes look more toned. I want you to be able to see more of like my muscles and stuff. I want my stomach to look flat. Anytime that I have hella water weight, that's when I start jiggling. I don't want a whole bunch of jiggles everywhere. I don't want it to look like my stomach is melting. I don't want it to look like I'm having a seizure when I'm walking because that's how much jiggling is going on. Cheeks are jiggling, lips are jiggling, booty's jiggling, arms are jiggling. No, I don't want everything to be jiggling. So when I'm holding a bunch of extra water weight, that is when my jiggle starts to get out of hand. So if you're like me, like an hourglass shape, yeah, the jiggles that's something you want to control. Or at least in my case, I want to be firm. I want my body to look firm and solid as opposed to blubbering and flubbering everywhere. And by the way, my fitness journey, that is tied in with my decentering men journey. So I just want to put that out there. I think that focusing on my health and nutrition, I think it's a great way to not be as male centered because I'm putting all that energy back into myself. So instead of focusing on, oh, how can I attract a man with a nice body? How about I just become what I used to want to attract? Like a lot of women have low self esteem and they become pick me's because they have inferiority complexes about their body. And that's why they say that nothing tastes as good as skinny feels. So the way that I do it is, okay, let's say I'm at a party and they have a whole bunch of desserts. The way that I think of it is, okay, what would the most healthy version of myself, what would she want to eat right now? What portion size would she get? And if I see a dessert table, like let's say they have cupcakes, they have ice cream, generally speaking, I try to choose the thing on the table that is the least sweet. So instead of me getting ice cream or instead of me getting a giant cupcake, I might go for a small pastry instead because it's not giving me as high of a dopamine hit. Like for some people, sugar is like crack. It literally lights up the same centers of the brain as like drugs. So yeah, I don't need to get a big giant hit because for me personally, I do tend to be more prone to addiction to sugar in particular. I've always had like a really big sweet tooth. So I don't want to try to reawaken that, that addiction to sugar. I don't want to reawaken that. And by the way, some of these women can't even go one day without having sugar. And I guarantee if you are having problems losing weight, I guarantee it's one of these two problems. Either you never eat vegetables, you don't eat enough vegetables, you're eating too much processed food, or you can't even go one day without having sugar. That's what it is. You need everything to be sweet. Everything has to have chocolate. Everything has to have honey. Everything has to have sugar on it. Oh, well, honey is healthy. Okay, well, technically you could argue that sugar, there's a such thing as healthy sugar. Stop trying to make the excuse that everything's healthy. Your body's not healthy, ma'am. So you don't get the privilege. You don't have thin privilege. You can't afford to have 50 grams of sugar on Saturday. You can't afford to have that because you already had 1,000 grams of sugar over the past 7 days. So trust me, your body's got plenty of sugar in it. You don't have to worry. You're literally on the verge of candida right now as you're listening to this. So you don't have to worry about, oh, well, I'm not going to get enough sugar. And then they try to make these excuses like, oh, well, you could have diabetes. You could end up like having an imbalanced blood sugar. You could end up passing out. Ma'am, you could barely even go 2 hours without eating. So trust me, you're not going to pass out. We all know that you're going to be back in the kitchen by 2 p.m. So don't try to suddenly have all this fake concern. And a lot of women, they're just bad at restricting themselves. Like they don't know how to tell themselves no. Being thin is really just me telling myself no. So when I drive past the drive-thru, do you know how many drive-thrus I would love to go to right now? Do you know how many drive-thrus I used to love eating at? But I learned how to tell myself no because if it's like a trigger food, some of us have trigger foods. I happen to have trigger foods as well. So if it's something that I know is going to trigger me into overeating, I just try to stay away from it in general. I don't want to give myself that temptation. So that's part of why I don't go to drive-thrus because their food is designed for you to get like a larger serving. A lot of times it's just empty calories. So why would I set myself up for failure like that? And by the way, food is not going to solve my problems. A lot of women, they're not looking for nutrients. They're just looking for stimulation. They're bored. Their life is boring. So that's why they have to just sit around scrolling on their phone, doom scrolling, sit around scrolling on dating apps, being a troll, changing their race to white on a dating app so they can see what types of women Scott actually likes, or making a fake profile pretending to be a man on a dating app so they can analyze their competition on dating apps. I mean, tell me you have no life without telling me you have no life. Do you see how much energy that takes? So all you have to do is transfer that energy over into focusing on eating more vegetables. Do you know how many vegetables there are? There are like, what, 1,000 different types of vegetables? I think it's actually way more than that. But I'm like estimating. There are literally thousands of different kinds of vegetables. If you don't have at least 10 vegetables that you like, that's a problem. That means that is a form of self-neglect. I am convinced that women who are overweight, it's because they're neglecting themselves somehow. Oh, well, I have kids. Okay, well, you neglected yourself so you could take care of your kids. Welcome to patriarchy. Welcome to being a married single mother. That's what happened. There is no excuse. If you're overweight, it's because you neglected yourself somehow. So instead of figuring out how to eat a healthy meal, you decided to just, figure out how to give your kids a healthy meal. The same energy that you use investing into your children's health, keep the same energy with yourself. You take your kids to soccer practice, which is basically a workout. Your child, your 5-year-old is more in shape than you. Your 5-year-old has a better diet and a better workout routine than you. So you're telling me you're over here raising a professional soccer player. Your child is going to be a future professional soccer player, professional basketball player, baseball player. You're over here buying your kid Gatorade, electrolytes, so that they have energy and stuff, and then you don't do it for yourself. Do you see the hypocrisy? Do you see what kind of example you're setting for a child? You're basically saying, hey, don't live like me. I'm a hypocrite. You do know that you're showing your child that you're a hypocrite, right? If you're trying to make your child eat healthy and then you're not eating healthy, you're being a hypocrite. And then the child is eventually going to get older and they're going to be like, oh, I'm no longer eating healthy. Mom doesn't eat healthy, so why should I? Imagine trying to tell your child that they should be eating vegetables when you yourself haven't had vegetables in 6 months. That's laughable. That's laughable. Do you really want to be the laughingstock of your own family? Not to mention the fact that you do want to be alive to see all of the things that your child does. So that's why I said women who are overweight, it's a form of self-neglect. I do think that part of it is they are looking for stimulation too. So they're trying to escape their emotions. They're trying to numb their feelings by eating food. That's why you see them eating when they go through a breakup. That's why you see them eating a lot at work. Like in my case, I used to do a lot of snacking at work because I was trying to numb out the feelings of stress because I was an accountant. So I was trying to numb out those feelings of, oh shit, I have a deadline. In accounting, there are a lot of deadlines. You have to do like payroll and stuff sometimes. You might have to deal with different vendors and things like that. So I had a lot of different factors that were causing me stress. So as a form of kind of balancing it out and getting a dopamine hit, I would always have a little napkin next to me with like a bagel or like, some candy or something. That's part of why they bring candy to the office, because they know that you're working in a living hell. So they're like, okay, you can at least have a candy. You can at least have a lollipop while you're sitting here in the middle of hell with all these belugas. Name one company that you've ever worked for where everybody was in shape. I'll wait. Name one 9-to-5 job that you have ever worked where every single person in that company was at a healthy weight. They weren't. And part of it is because 9-to-5 culture is not set up to make you healthy. It's not set up for your mental health, and it's not set up for your physical health. And that's a part of why you see a lot of like restaurants. Have you ever worked in one of those tall corporate buildings and then they have like a coffee shop at the bottom? They have all these restaurants with processed food in them at the bottom. Why did they open their restaurant there? Well, it's because they know that you guys are stressed out and that you're going to be looking for a dopamine hit. So of course they're going to sell sugar. Of course they're going to sell the white powder on the first floor. Flour, sugar, salt. Of course they're going to sell the white stuff that you guys are addicted to. So when it comes to 9-to-5s, like that was definitely a time where I had to meal prep. And also when I quit my last job, I immediately lost like 5 pounds. Because sometimes the actual job itself is stressful. That's why I try to tell the exoticals, like I talk about it in the Patreon, switching jobs if necessary. Who cares if the job pays a little bit less? As long as you can pay your bills and sustain yourself, it's always worth it if you have better mental health. By the way, if you like my content, be sure to join the Patreon because that's where I make all my custom content. That's where you can like ask me a question and I will make like a 45-minute episode just addressing your question. There's no guarantee that I'll answer all the questions, but that's just a side note. But when it comes to the whole weight loss thing, you're fat because you don't eat vegetables. That's what it is. And it's also because you're gullible. I've also noticed that pattern with a lot of women who are really big. They're very gullible. They fall for all the marketing. Like, they will see a bag of Cheetos and then it says, oh, it's only 120 calories. Yeah, 120 calories of poison. Oh, but there's no such thing as good and bad foods. Yes, there are. There are literally foods that have chemicals in them that are poisonous. So you're telling me that poison is not bad? Just because it says 120 calories on the bag, that doesn't mean I should eat it. Low calorie doesn't mean that I should eat 5 servings of it. But a lot of big women, they fall for this thing where it's like, oh, it says it has 0 sugar. Okay, but what about carbs? Carbs turn into sugar in your body. They'll be like, oh, it has 0 sugar, it has 0 carbs. Oh, well, it says keto on it. It says Weight Watchers on it. It says that I get 10% of my daily vitamin E. It says that it's infused with vitamin B12. Okay, those are all marketing tactics. How does your actual body feel after you eat it? A lot of people, they will listen to the packaging more than they'll listen to their own bodies. And I'm like, this company is making money off of you. That's why they put a sign on the chips that says low sodium, low calorie, low fat, 0 trans fats. That's why they put that on there, because they know that your dumbass is going to buy it. And by the way, this is not geared towards the big women who are leveling up and they're actually losing weight. This is more so geared towards the women who make excuses. They're gullible. And then another thing too, and I used to fall for this too, it's the Christmas marketing. Oh, these are the Christmas cookies. These are the limited edition Christmas pretzels from Trader Joe's that have like the candy canes on them. Oh my God, I love those. I love a good candy cane around Christmas. Like anything that has candy cane. You know how they do the little crumbles of candy cane and they put it on a brownie or they put it inside of a cookie or something. I love that. It gets me in a Christmas mood. So that's still a form of emotional eating though, because I'm trying to eat more sugar so that I could get into a certain mood. Thanksgiving is coming up. I don't know if Thanksgiving will already be here by the time I post this, because a lot of this is pre-recorded, but Thanksgiving is coming up or Thanksgiving has already passed by the time I upload this. So the whole premise of Thanksgiving is you're supposed to be binging on a whole bunch of food. And it's like, wait a minute, I thought that you're supposed to be grateful for what you have. Why can't I just pick another part of the holiday that I like and celebrate that? So I was talking in the Patreon about how I got invited to several different Thanksgiving parties. I'm going to say no to at least 3 of them. I might say no to a 4th one because I don't need to be going to several social events that are revolving around food. And plus, I also have to cook for that as well. And then I have to bring something. And that's another thing too. Once you become skinny, you start to realize that the majority of people do not eat in the same way as you. Do you know how much mental and emotional resilience you have to become thin? Do you know how much emotional resilience you have to have in America where they have socialized us to overeat? You have to be like a rebel to become thin, basically. You have to be like a mental rebel. You have to be so mentally strong. You have to be so emotionally strong and grounded to lose weight. That's why a lot of people celebrate weight loss. That's why they call it a weight loss transformation. It's not just about transforming your body. It's really about transforming your mind. If you lost weight and you gained the weight back, it's because you didn't do enough of the mental work. You didn't have enough of the mindset to stay thin. And then they try to say, oh, well, I just didn't have the motivation. Stop blaming your external circumstances for why you didn't lose weight. I don't have to be motivated 24/7. Like, oh my God, I'm just so inspired right now. I don't have to live my life and do my entire diet just based on my emotions. That is still a form of emotional eating. If you're only eating healthy based on motivation, you're emotionally eating. You're still emotionally eating. You're basically admitting, oh, I only eat healthy when I'm in a good mood. I only eat healthy when I feel inspired. I only eat healthy because it's 90 days until summertime and I want to look cute so I can get Scott's attention. I only want to eat healthy because I'm going to the Caribbean this summer and, I want some attention from men. Oh, I'm only getting healthy because I'm going to Nigeria this December for their little party season. I'm going to Ghana, so I got to make sure that I look cute when I go to the bar. That's still a form of emotional eating, even if you are eating healthy. I don't want my entire stability, I don't want my weight to be hinging upon how my emotions feel in the moment. And that's why a lot of people say that when you're overweight, you're emotionally unstable as well. Being emotionally unstable and physically unstable are like interconnected. Like the less emotionally stable a person is, the more likely they are to emotionally eat. And that's why you see a lot of women in 9-to-5 jobs gaining weight. It's because the corporate culture, or like if you're in a toxic workplace, it is just not very encouraging. Obviously it's not set up for you to like level up and succeed and be healthy. And another thing too is, for some of you guys, you might have a job that is in the middle of a food desert. And by the way, that's why when I had a job, like part of what I did to lose weight is I stopped eating out. I stopped driving to the restaurants and stuff during my lunch break. Because again, that's another form of escapism. Oh, let me get out of this office because it sucks. So let me go drive to McDonald's. Let me go drive to Starbucks. Let me go drive somewhere else. Or how about I just have some internal drive to actually lose the weight, and then I can quit this job and maybe I could do something else, because my diet, it actually affects my my mental symptoms and stuff. Like if you struggle with brain fog, I literally can feel the brain fog when I have a lot of processed foods, especially sugar. Sugar, it definitely kind of hypes me up. It makes my thoughts go a little bit faster. You can actually hear it in my content sometimes. I can kind of tell based on my content. I can tell when I've had coffee. I can tell when I've had a lot of sugar. And then I can tell when I'm like clear-headed and like calm. So if my body is always digesting food 24/7, I tend to have a lot more brain fog. So that's another side effect of me eating healthy, is it literally clears my mind. So no, I don't have to rely on substances. I don't have to drink alcohol and smoke a bunch of stuff. And then my cootie cat smells like weed because I just, I was hotboxing all day long. No, I don't have to do that because I can have herbs every single morning. I have herbs all the time. I put like rosemary and all kinds of herbs on my food. And by the way, when I talk about decentering men on this channel, I'm talking about this chart, and I'll try to put it on the screen if I can remember when I'm editing this. But a lot of women, they're struggling with weight loss because they literally spend more time trying to fix their relationships. They're spending more time trying to fix their marriage, trying to fix whatever's going on with their boyfriend. I literally have an overweight woman in real life right now stalking me. She is low-key stalking me. She thinks that I don't know. I literally have a woman right now who has been watching me because she thinks that I potentially could be, liking her man or something like that. So it's like, okay, that's why I say decenter men. So you can put something else in the middle of the circle instead. It doesn't mean you have to hate men. It doesn't mean you have to like devalue them or hate your dad or whatever. It just means that you don't spend as much of your time focusing on them. So you have 24 hours in a day. I want you to write down all the activities you did in the last 24 hours. How many hours did you spend going on a dating app? How many hours did you spend fixing your dating app? How many hours did you spend posting thirst traps? How many hours did you spend DMing or texting back and forth with a guy? And then how many hours did you spend focusing on eating vegetables? That's how I know that you're male-centered. So for me, part of what helped me to like lose weight and maintain a size extra small is by spending more time watching videos about different vegetables or how to cook the different vegetables. Like, those cooking channels? I follow a lot of channels where it shows how to make vegetables in the air fryer, how to make your vegetables taste crunchy. By the way, the way you do that is by really air frying them. I didn't know that you could air fry so much stuff. But that's what I follow online. Instead of following all these videos, these men, what do white men like? What do rich men like? 85% of the population in the United States makes less than 100K. This is one of the richest countries in the world. So you're already in one of the richest countries in the world. So not only are you looking for the top, 15% of men, and by the way, 100K is not rich. I don't know how many times I have to say it. But not only are you spending your time searching for a needle in a haystack, but now you're saying, okay, no, actually, I only want a millionaire. And that's fine. I will never tell you to get with a broke man. I'm never going to tell you to get into a 50-50 or get with a broke guy. I'll never promote that on this channel. But I just think that in the meantime, instead of trying to search all over the city, paying for all these events, paying for all this stuff so you can try to find this needle in a haystack, instead of doing all that, maybe you could pay for a grocery subscription. Maybe you could pay for like HelloFresh or like, one of those things where you get the meals already pre-made and then they have a recipe right there. And you could do it based on calories. I think that's a way better way to invest your time. Like my life is an investment. So I don't have to sit around and wait for a man to invest in me. Every time I eat a bite of broccoli, that is an investment into my future. And that's another reason why a lot of people, they think that skinny people just eat trash all the time and that we just stay skinny, because almost every time I've gone to an event, if I have like cupcakes and stuff, people ask me, they're like, how do you stay so slim when that's what you eat? And it's because the majority of the time I'm eating a lot of vegetables. So it's like a form of habit stacking, and also it retrains your gut, it retrains your taste buds. So if I eat too much sugar now, I will actually start getting sick. Like my taste buds are like, ew. In fact, I remember when I first started losing the weight, this is like within the first 3 months or so, I used to love these chocolate bars, the Tony's chocolate bars. And I remember I had them one time, and as soon as my tongue hit the chocolate, I literally felt an urge to like throw up, because that's how nasty it was. I was like, oh my God, this is so sweet. It's like, it would make my stomach sick. I haven't had that chocolate bar in over a year. So every bite of broccoli I take is an investment in my future. Every salad that I eat, well, honestly, I actually don't eat a lot of salads. That's my unpopular opinion. I don't eat a lot of salad unless it's really hot outside. Maybe if it's hot and I'm sitting out in the sun or something, then I might have a salad. But that's another thing too. A lot of influencers, they try to convince you that you have to eat like them. Oh, what I eat in a day. Bitch, I don't have to eat the same thing as you. I don't give a fuck what you eat in a day. I get to decide what I eat in a day. You don't get to tell me what I can and can't eat. So a lot of the meals that I have, they're not very popular on social media. I don't eat a lot of social media aesthetic dinners where it's like, oh, I got my giant piece of salmon, then I got like the asparagus and it's sauteed in butter, and then I've got like some couscous on the side. I don't have all these aesthetic meals every day. My meals are very basic. I'm having broccoli. I'm having like a vegetable stir fry. I'm having a potato. I'm having a small piece of salmon. No, it doesn't look pretty or perfect. Oh, and something else I noticed too was part of why I used to eat a lot of cookies and sweets is because it's pretty. So I felt pretty and dainty eating a beautiful cupcake or eating a beautiful macaroon. But then eventually I wised up and I was like, well, why don't I just become pretty? Why don't I just look as pretty as a cupcake? Why don't I just look like a snack instead of trying to eat all the snacks? So instead of me falling for the propaganda, I'm falling for this bright orange Cheeto packaging. Because by the way, I do like Cheetos, and I do like that color, the bright traffic cone orange. I do like wearing that color sometimes in terms of makeup. So sometimes it's the bright packaging that would make me want the item. And it's like some of the stuff doesn't even taste as good as it looks. Like Pop-Tarts, for example. Pop-Tarts look very cute. They look very aesthetically pleasing. Macaroons look very aesthetically pleasing. But sometimes it's dry and like it doesn't even taste that good. So that was another form of emotional eating. I was eating a cute Christmas Pop-Tart with green and red sprinkles on it because I wanted to feel an aesthetic Christmas emotion. That's the emotion I was trying to feel. And so I had to start asking myself, okay, what emotion do I want to feel when I eat food? I want to feel the emotion of feeling abundant. I want to feel healthy. I want to feel thin. That's how I want to feel. So eating a whole bunch of Pop-Tarts, that's not going to help me feel healthy and energized and thin. So I try to reflect before I eat the food. Another thing I started doing too, and it helped me, was taking a deep breath. So if I'm in public, yes, I will take a few deep breaths before I go to the dessert table. Oh, well, Exoticals United, that's so dramatic. Like, why are you trying to act like you're on trial or something? Why are you trying to act like it's a job interview? Well, it's a way of comforting myself. So it's a way of kind of like stopping and thinking about a decision before I make it. And it's a form of grounding. A lot of my emotional eating, it was me trying to ground myself. It was me trying to get out of my head and get back into my body. So I had to come up with other grounding techniques. So taking a deep breath, maybe doing some yoga, maybe going to a spa, getting a massage, going to a sauna, literally getting outside and touching grass, getting off my phone. All of those things are grounding techniques. And especially if I'm at a social event, I will try to create goals for myself. Like, okay, when I go to this event, I want to talk to Tiffany. I want to talk to John. I want to talk to Sarah. I try to make a social goal instead of just going to the party and I just hang out in front of the dessert table. And I've noticed that a lot of people who identify as introverts, I notice sometimes introverted women can struggle with that because I've witnessed that. I've seen a lot of women where they don't really want to talk to people or they have social anxiety. Okay, well, eating cupcakes, that's not going to solve the social anxiety. All that's doing is distracting you. A lot of people eat food as a distraction. They want to distract from their own life. They want to distract themselves from the fact that they hate their job. How about I just fix the actual problem and get out of this bitch ass job? I don't care if I have to be a fucking Uber driver. I'm getting out of the job. Because what you're not going to do is cause me to be a mental slave. And then, so now you're telling me I hate my job and I hate my body too? Bitch, no. I need to pick a struggle. So if that means that I need to become a bartender for a little while or I need to become a waitress or something, I don't care what I have to do. But what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.